Imagine going to school late, and discovering you're the only human left in the classroom. Your friends are brains in jars, your teacher isn't from Earth, and passing math is the only thing stopping humanity's extinction. This isn't a nightmare, this is your first period. There is a beautiful sea shore with rippling sea waves under the scorching sunlight. Hissing sounds are coming outside from an abandoned cave. Inside the cave, there is something freaky resting with its wall that is bleeding heavily into the sea. It is whispering something. Now we see how the story begins many years ago. On an ordinary morning, inside a crowded town there is a house from which the loud TV voices are coming outside. Someone is watching the news about wars in faraway countries. A boy wonders if he is heartless or that is just normal to him. He is having breakfast. Taking bites, he asks what will be for dinner tonight. Suddenly his mother shouts at him to stop spacing out and finish his food. Satoki hurries up. Before school, Satoki asks his mother about dinner. She answers and urges him to leave. His brother hurries downstairs, surprised Satoki is heading out so early. Satoki, annoyed, points out that his brother is the one running late. After that Satoki leaves for school. He reaches the station where he meets his two class fellows. The girl, Ida, and Satoki greet each other good morning with a special signal. Then he goes straight to his friend who is playing on the phone. Excitedly, he asks him if he has been at it since morning. The boy confirms. Satoki asks his rank this season. While playing he answers second. Excited, Satoki boosts his courage saying he can definitely go for rank 1 and that he also wants to get better in rank. Ida casually remarks that they are so carefree. She mentions there are real wars going on out in the world. Still playing, the boy replies that it's just a handful of countries. However, Satoki asks Ida if she wants to play. Worried, Ida, in her own thoughts, mutters there's no way that at some point Japan might end up in a war too. She remarks she would feel stupid for having played games like that. Brushing her worries, Satoki replies Japan will be fine. However, Ida worriedly says no one knows. Seeing her nervously, he asks if she is actually worried about it. Smiling, she refuses saying she was just kidding. Seeing her, Satoki tries to release the tension. Laughing, he asks her not to worry. He will protect everyone with his godlike aim even if they end up at war. Teasing them, their friend tells Ida that it's good for her. He asks if Satoki said he will protect Ida. Annoyed, Satoki shouts that he said, everyone. Smiling, Ida asks Satoki if he is going to protect her. Blushing, he replies yes, and everyone else. His friend doesn't stop and jokes that he is way too flustered. Satoki asks him to keep quiet but Ida finds it cute. Eventually, the train reaches the station and Satoki informs them to hurry. Suddenly, a police officer approaches Satoki and greets him good morning. Scared, Satoki greets back. A police cop stares at Satoki and he gets amazed. Staring at Satoki, the cop talks on the walkie-talkie confirming the boy with a scar on forehead is there. With a creepy smile, the cop asks if he is Satoki Satokikan. Confused, Satoki confirms. The cop asks if they can talk for a bit. Pointing to the train, Satoki replies he will be late if he doesn't get on that one. However, the cop apologizes and requests that it will just be a while and that it's their duty. Satoki agrees. His friend jokes and asks Satoki if he has killed someone. Ida tells the cop that Satoki may be an idiot but he is not a bad person. However, Satoki laughs and says that he is not sure what's going on. He asks them to go on ahead. Saying goodbye, the boy waves his hand and Ida greets with a special signal. Satoki gives the same gesture in return. Outside the station, the cop asks Satoki to stay there for a while. Chilling, he makes sounds with a car bounty and whistles too. Confused, Satoki wonders if he has done something wrong. Eventually, the cop looks at his watch and speaks on the walkie-talkie. He understands and confirms something in the talk. Meanwhile, confused, Satoki keeps looking at him. However, the cop apologizes to him saying someone from headquarters made a mistake and that he is free to go. Scared, Satoki shouts if it was a mistake. The cop apologizes again. He tells him that he can go school now and advises to be careful on his way there. Sitting alone in the train cabinet, while playing, he wonders if it was all about a mistake. He relaxes himself saying not to worry if it's got nothing to do with him. Eventually, he realizes that he has to go to the staff room and get a tardy slip. Suddenly, he dies and loses the game. In school, walking in the corridor, he muses as it's Wednesday. The first period of biology is about to end. Takahashi-sensei, biology teacher, is scary. Satoki says even if he explains that it was the cop's fault Takahashi is probably going nag at him. He can already hear Yamamoto and the others jokingly saying stuff like if he had got arrested. He is sure that his heartless friend Take won't say anything to help him out. However, Satoki muses that he will talk to Ida to make him feel better. It feels like they have gotten closer lately. He wonders if she likes him but brushes it off, saying that it's just overthinking. Embarrassed, he enters the class apologizing for being late. Inside the classroom, Satoki sees a young female standing on the platform and brains placed on the desks. Satoki looks around in shock. He notices the brain flopping in the jars on the chairs. He seems amazed a lot. He stares at the lady as she greets him with a calm morning welcome. She says she has been waiting for the day she finally gets to meet him. Satoki does not know who she is. His eyes move to a glass jar. He does not understand what it is. A brain floats inside the liquid. Satoki nervously says that he must have entered the wrong class. He quickly turns to leave. The woman calls him and says he is in the correct place. She orders him to hurry to his seat. Satoki freezes at her words. She adds that everyone in the class has been waiting for him. A brain suddenly bounces inside one of the jars. Satoki wonders how they can wait for him. He looks at the student desks again and asks where everyone is. Suddenly he gets shocked as he notices Aida's seat and sees her name written on a jar below a floating brain. He remembers her laughter when he promised he would protect her no matter what. Now he sees her brain drifting inside a jar. Satoki laughs in fear and says it is impossible. The lady continues standing straight. She tells him again to hurry and take his seat. She also says the class is excited to enjoy lessons with him. He says he does not know her at all. He asks her to stop talking like this and stop saying everyone. He tells her that she is making it sound as if the brains are his classmates. The teacher smiles and confirms that these brains are exactly his classmates. Satoki gets hit with a shock. She adds that all his classmates are released from their physical bodies and live in a brain-only state now. Satoki cannot understand. He takes a deep breath and lets out an uneasy laugh. He laughingly says it is impossible and asks if it is some kind of terrible prank. She replies that she expected him not to believe. Satoki says belief does not matter. A brain-only state cannot exist and it is not even remotely possible. The teacher's eyes turn dark with thin white lines inside. She says he is correct because it cannot be done with the technology of this planet. Satoki freezes again. She calmly explains that they are not from Earth. As she talks, something sprouts from her wrist. It grows fast and grabs her face. It cuts her head from her body and holds it in the air. The girl keeps laughing and smiles at him. She tells him that the impossible is real. Satoki's eyes remain wide open after seeing this sight. Her body then returns to normal. Satoki slowly sinks into his chair. She thanks him for sitting. He thinks she must be an alien. He believes she turned everyone into brains. He stares at her and wonders if they plan to invade Earth. He fears what will happen to everyone. He thinks about the words brain-only state and worries if the students can ever return to normal. The teacher then calmly introduces herself again. She shouts that from today, this school is under their control and she will be the new teacher. She writes her real name on the board but says it is a secret. She tells him to call her sensei for convenience. Satoki thinks in shock that she is their new teacher. He slams his palm on the desk and calls out to her. He says she is pretending to be a teacher even though she is just an alien. He demands that she turn everyone back and leave the planet. The teacher smiles gently and Satoki becomes silent again. She tells him that the word sensei means someone who has lived before. She says they live slightly ahead of Earth people. She holds the chalk duster and explains that their science is far more advanced. She adds that they already experienced the destruction that will happen to Earth in the future. Satoki's eyes widened at the mention of destruction. He asks if the destruction awaits. She laughs and confirms it. Sensei tells Satoki that if he chooses to help them, they can save the planet. Satoki frowns and asks why. Sensei looks into his eyes and asks him to save everyone as someone who has lived before. Satoki stands still with fear. He seems completely scared. He yells that she is not saving anyone and they are only attacking them. He says that if she truly wants to protect them, she must restore everyone now. She smiles again. Then she lifts a box-shaped object into the air without touching it. Satoki stares at her in fear. She tells him she believes in him. Her eyes turn toward a rooster statue. Satoki freezes with terror. He notices that he cannot move. His body feels locked. He wonders what is happening to him. She touches the rooster figure and says she will leave the rest to Chicken Sensei. After that she leaves the classroom with a violent slam. The rooster gives a sharp cry. Satoki looks at it with pure fear. There is only the rooster statue and the students' brains floating in the jars. The rooster screams the first period of mathematics while standing on the platform. Satoki mentions that moment becomes the start of their war. His eyes remain stuck on the rooster. The most embarrassing part is that the attendance is 0 absentees and only 1 student present. No one understands what is happening, and even the gangsters present have turned into weeping children. The being responsible observes his companions, whose heads have detached from their necks and transformed into plants. A boy is laughing weirdly. He has 3 eyes on one side. He smiles warmly, giving off an unsettling sense of calmness. The gangster around him begins to feel an unnatural sense of friendliness. Later he says that he possesses emotions and is capable of communication, describing it as an act of civility. The gangster calms down and begins to believe in the boy. Without warning, the gangster head detaches from his neck and transforms into a plant as well. Now we turn to the classroom. The rooster lets out a doodle-doo. Satoki sits frozen, horrified by the disturbing sight surrounding him. He realizes that his body refuses to move and it feels as though paralysis has overtaken him completely, from head to toe. He cannot comprehend what has been done to him or what is happening around him. The lady's words echo repeatedly in his mind, that they are not from this planet, that they can save it, and that their first period is mathematics. Confused and terrified, Satoki struggles to make sense of the situation. He begins to wonder if they have truly turned everyone into brains. The faces of his classmates Ida and Take flash through his mind, even they have been reduced to nothing more than brain-like forms, all except him. He recalls how his class once brimmed with energy and laughter, but now they exist only as lifeless brains. Desperation rises within him as he demands that they stop speaking about saving the planet and restore his classmates to their normal state. The rooster listens and responds calmly, explaining that everyone will indeed be returned to normal and released, but only if he passes the graduation exam, which will serve as his final reward for success. Hearing this, Satoki grows even more alarmed and demands clarification. Rooster explains with precision that the exam can only be taken after all lessons have been completed successfully. Satoki is overwhelmed and cannot understand how he is expected to pass every lesson and the graduation exam. Yet he clings to the faint hope that success might turn everyone back. The rooster continues, stating that for their first period, if Satoki solves the equation given to him correctly, he will pass. The reward for success will be the release from restraints. Fear and anger surge within him. He yells that they are only hurting them one-sidedly. As Rooster gives frustrating expressions, Satoki also gets scared. After that it spews a piece of chalk in its mouth. Satoki is amazed to see the chalk. The rooster puffs it and aims at Satoki's. Chalk ejects at the bullet speed. It strikes the Satoki's forehead and the sharp pain pierces through him. Later the creature informs him that this punishment may be administered once every 10 seconds. The pain fuels Satoki's rage. He curses the being, but before he can react further, its neck elongates unnaturally. It turns toward the board again, declaring that his equation is ready. Placing another piece of chalk into its mouth, it shakes its head vigorously and writes the problem on the board, instructing him to solve it. The equation appears deceptively simple, and Satsuno, uncertain, begins to wonder whether they are mocking him. As he studies the problem, he notices the creatures radiating an aura of superiority, as if they consider themselves above the humans of Earth. Yet he entertains the thought that perhaps they are not as intelligent as they claim, perhaps even weak in mathematics. With hesitant confidence, he provides the answer, 2. The creature, however, demands that he write it on the board himself. He requests that the paralysis be lifted so that he can move. But the being refuses, explaining that the release from restraint is the designated reward for passing the lesson. Satoki, growing desperate, asks what he is expected to do. The rooster informs him that all necessary explanations have already been given and that it will now remain silent. A chill of dread runs through him as the silence deepens. Suddenly, the creature strikes him again with the chalk, wounding his forehead. The impact sends him reeling in pain as he cries out, realizing that the situation is impossible. The equation makes no sense, the logic defies reason, and he cannot find a way to move his body. At the same moment the rooster again throws another chalk at Satoki. It strikes badly even if the wound bleeds gradually. He begins to understand that he cannot even lift the chalk, nor can he evade the blows being hurled at him. Trapped in his motionless state, he begins to think with grim clarity about what he can possibly do to escape this situation. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the lady sensei stands beside a series of complex machines, preparing to advance her plan. A whale-like entity near her asks if she is truly content with what is happening. The lady sensei, composed and unwavering, asks what the creature means. The whale replies that B appears to be attempting to kill Satoki. The sensei answers with quiet assurance that this is precisely why she has entrusted the matter to her. The whale warns her to honor her promise and reminds her that if Satoki-sama dies, she must abandon the planet. The alien listens calmly and tells it not to worry, expressing confidence and faith in him. On the other hand, at the same time in the classroom, we see Satoki seems scared a lot. His forehead bleeds from repeated impacts. Meanwhile, The rooster spews another chalk in its mouth. Satoki feels himself slipping toward unconsciousness, convinced that death is near. Even as the answer remains clear in his mind but cannot truly be solved. Satoki cannot comprehend what is happening before him. Exhausted and broken, he turns his attention to the chicken, questioning within himself what it truly desires. With a grim sense of realization, he wonders whether it truly intends to kill him. He also asks what has become of all its claims about saving their planet. Yet, despite his weakened state, the chicken does not stop. It continues to strike him again and again with the chalk, each impact heavier than the last. Entrapped in relentless agony, he is unable to find a way out. He does know what to do. The pain consumes his senses and he begins to feel faint and sick. He wonders if this will truly be the place where he dies. As the blood drops, the desperation takes hold as he wishes for help, calling into the void for someone, anyone, to save him. He tries to grasp what is happening within the walls of their school. His thoughts drift toward the other classrooms. He cannot understand why the police have not yet come, and why the world remains so deathly silent outside. Fear tightens around his chest as he realizes he does not want to die like this. Again and again, he pleads for the chicken to stop, but his cries go unanswered. The creature continues its assault, its movements mechanical and unfeeling, the chalk striking his skull without pause or mercy. In the midst of the chaos, a strange realization dawns within him. He remembers at that time, he had no idea what thoughts were passing through his mind, nor to whom his prayer was directed. Even now, as his strength wanes, he remains uncertain. He has never been one to believe in God or any higher power. And yet, in that instant, he realizes that perhaps he did believe, that somewhere within the terror and pain, he had begun to hope that his prayer might stop the onslaught, even if only for a moment. He comes to understand that in the depths of despair, whether one believes in God or not, he instinctively reaches out towards something greater than themselves. In that moment, he feels the faint trace of what it means to be human. Suddenly, electric impulses begin to surge through his mind. It feels as though invisible currents are being transmitted directly into his brain from somewhere behind him. The sensation mirrors what he imagines is happening to the others, their minds overwhelmed by similar waves of power, reshaping them into something beyond human. The fluid inside the jars bubbles up. It looks like something is boiling up. Satoki notices the fluid inside the jars is surging up, not only the single one but all the brains. When the rooster is about to throw another strike, Satoki, exhausted with pain, wishes to stop it. The chalk comes out to strike but stops near Satoki's head. It stands in the air. Satoki gets amazed to see it stopped in the air. Chalk stops and falls down without striking him. Satoki gets a shock as the rooster throws more strikes on him, but all the chalk stop just before him without striking. After a pause, the rooster tells Satoki that he would have been better off just dying. But Satoki gives it a shut-up call. Satoki says that day he became a psychic. Dripped with blood, he weirdly glares at the rooster. After this we see a heart throbbing fastly. Far beyond the planet, miles away from Earth, something hurtles through space, a force launched hours earlier, moving at immense velocity. Whether a savior or a destroyer, no one knows. Its path is fixed, its time set, and its impact on Earth draws closer with every moment. The scene unfolds at the National Diet Building, where a critical operation aimed at salvation is underway behind closed doors. Deep below the surface, in a classified conference room known by the codename, the waiting room, some people are gathering. They seem to have a meeting. The foreigner lady is also sitting along with them. The Prime Minister, Jiro Washibuchi, engages with an extraterrestrial visitor regarding the imminent destruction of Earth. The discussion centers on the alien's intentions. If the foretold devastation is true, why would she try to protect humanity, and what motives underpin her actions? The alien A-sensei presents herself and her kind as vagabonds who have lost their home and seek. By safeguarding the Earth, they wish to earn the right to live with humans. The Chief Cabinet Secretary Akira Maruho recognizes that the aliens genuinely wish to assist and coexist with them. It represents an unparalleled opportunity for cooperation. He asks the Prime Minister about his will. Despite reluctance, the Prime Minister accepts the necessity of this alliance. Akira Maruho whispers that they have no choice but to believe them. Even if the alien statements prove deceptive, humanity currently lacks the means to defeat them, thus an artificial trust is required to navigate the immediate threat. With these considerations in mind, the Prime Minister consents to place his trust in the aliens and inquires regarding their requirements. The alien specifies that they need the materials and personnel necessary to develop a weapon and promises to supply technology unavailable on Earth. The Vice Commissioner and Chief Technology Officer, Atla Tenma expresses profound excitement at the prospect of utilizing alien technology. The narrative shifts to a park, where the alien sensei and her companion sit together on a bench. Her companion, with gravity and seriousness, stresses the urgency of their plan to depart the planet before discovery. She also suggests they should use humans to build a spaceship and depart from here. The alien sensei, however, firmly rejects this strategy. She says that they will face their adversaries on Earth itself. Her companion wonders why she does not understand the plan. Sensei explains her conviction in the latent power that humans have. She also says without this power they would lack any means to oppose their enemies. Her companion understands the plan. Following this, both approach the commissioner to elaborate further on the unique capabilities of humans. The alien sensei explains that this power consists of the ability to believe in dreams and illusions. The commissioner, taken aback, listens as she clarifies that while intelligent life is abundant across the universe, only humans continue to believe in concepts lacking scientific basis, such as deities, the soul, fate, and the afterlife, elements collectively considered fantasy. She explains that as civilizations advance scientifically, belief in such fantasies is typically eliminated. And it's regarded as the norm. Rarely, even among their own species, individuals appear who maintain belief in these concepts. Such individuals are diagnosed with delusional disorders and subjected to compulsory treatment. The commissioner absorbs the gravity of this information. She adds their science is advanced but still they believe in fantasies. All humans are born with fantasy diseases but they are an extremely unique species of intelligent life. The commissioner explains that many earthlings do not believe in forces that seem unscientific. He says he never believed in a god. Alien Sensei asks if he is truly sure. She mentions how, when human children are born, people pray for safe delivery. The commissioner admits that he did pray during that moment, but not to any god. He wonders quietly who he prayed to then. Sensei tells him to imagine a person placing a life savings on the red color of a roulette table. Even if that person is realistic, he will still pray. He will hope for red. She says that this belief shows that humans think their wishes can affect the world. She calls it the root of their fantasies and unscientific beliefs. The commissioner says that when she describes it like that, humans look arrogant and foolish. Sensei shakes her head. She says humans believe in impossible fantasies because they believe their thoughts can change reality. The commissioner listens in silence. Sensei continues. She claims humans have learned to affect the world through wishing. Those who believed survived better than those who did not. Their genes passed on through natural selection. Humans were left with brains that can create fantasies. She says this fantasy disease appears foolish. Yet it could also be a weapon used for survival. The commissioner repeats the word weapon in confusion. Sensei smiles and explains. She summarizes her theory. Inside every human brain lies a supernatural power. This power influences the real world through pure will. The commissioner calls the theory interesting but stretched too far. Sensei says she has no proof and calls it only a theory. The vice commissioner, Atla, urges the commissioner to try it. He warns that humanity will be destroyed if they do nothing. He tries to make the commissioner agree. The commissioner says the higher authorities also instructed him to proceed. Atla asks Sensei what she needs. Sensei answers that they must gather as many human brains as possible. Her assistant mentions that the princess began experiments on humans. Many of the subjects were death row inmates, making it easy to secure them. The assistant says the princess does not believe psychic power exists. On Earth, people called psychics appeared throughout history. But none were proven real. The princess says individual psychic power is probably very weak. Even if a talented person appeared, the power would seem like luck or tricks. It would never be accepted. The assistant looks at a boy strapped in place, his brain linked to others. She wonders if expanding the brain can give stronger and more stable psychic power. The princess sensei claims she wants to save humans, yet she uses them in cold experiments. Even worse, the experiments prove psychic powers do exist. A boy sits before a picture of a soccer ball. His eyes are covered and his hands are tied. He trembles and whispers, asking what object is beside him. He asks if it is a black and white panda or a soccer ball. The commissioner confirms the test. The boy screams that his head is about to burst. Sensei studies the results carefully. She says people in their late teens show the highest ability, especially those with stronger fluid intelligence. Brains older than that cannot handle the strain. She also finds that weapon-type brains produce better results when connected to soldier-type brains. Sensei instructs the vice commissioner to prepare the chosen humans when the time arrives. She also confirms that the power they witnessed is the power of mental perception. Sensei instructs them to focus on telekinetic powers. She says this ability will be the key to defeating the threat. Later, Sensei and her companion walk through a quiet park. The companion asks how the princess chose Satoki. She says Satoki looks like an ordinary human. Sensei answers softly that she believes in him. The companion asks why. Sensei replies that it is instinct. The companion comments that it makes her sound like she suffers from fantasy disease. Both of them fall silent for a moment. Her companion admits that the experiments are going well. Sensei thanks her. The companion then asks if everything seems too convenient. Everything is happening exactly as the princess predicted. She asks if the princess is hiding something. Sensei smiles gently and says no. The companion stares at her with suspicion and then walks ahead. She sits down and quietly suggests that they should escape this planet. Even if the weapon is complete, she does not believe they can defeat humans. She says they should abandon the Earthlings and search for a new home. The princess smiles again. She says another long journey with her does not sound bad. But she adds that she believes their plan will succeed, and she has faith in it. Her companion lowers her head. She asks the princess to dispose of her if she opposes the plan. The princess kneels and tells her that she will not do something like that. She gently touches her cheek. She says that even if she disagrees, she is still precious to her. She adds that she believes in her as well. The companion looks up, nervous and conflicted. Meanwhile, Satoki remains frozen in his classroom chair. He whispers that he can do it. He only needs to write the number 2. He stares at the chalk pieces spread across the floor. One rolls slightly. He desperately wishes for it to move again. Sensei watches him through the rooster. She says she cannot believe Satoki, an ordinary human, has manifested telekinesis. The experiments never produced a result like this. Yet he made it happen. Satoki focuses on the chalk with fierce determination. He says he will not give up. The rooster weapon speaks in the voice of Sensei. It says his power is too weak to defeat them. The companion warns that if the rooster fires again with perfect aim, Satoki will die. She thinks she can convince the princess to escape after Satoki is gone. Satoki's eyes fill with anger. Blood covers his face. He vows that he will win and restore everyone. The rooster prepares another attack. The companion decides she will end him and carry out her duty. Satoki tells himself again that he can do it. He knows he can. The companion hesitates. She wonders if Satoki might actually succeed. She pushes the thought away. She insists that he cannot do it. The record describes this day. The greatest soldier and the greatest weapon are completed. The weapon suffers from a strange condition. It contains around 40 human brains. It amplifies the psychic power hidden inside their minds. It can turn imagination into real phenomena. They call the weapon brain circuit. It is a fantasy manifestation device. Satoki finally writes the answer, 2, on the blackboard using telekinetic force. The rooster checks the answer. It announces that he is correct. It also announces that the first period is complete. Satoki takes a weak breath. His face shows relief. A small hope has begun to grow.